Hello Tarot Rebels, welcome to today's video. My name is Michaela from Tarot Rebel and I'm super happy to see you joining us today. So thank you so much for giving me your time, your attention, your energy. Today I will be talking about two of my favorite things in the world. Let me just move my teacup. Two of my favorite things in the world: Buffy the Vampire Slayer and tarot. It so happens that there's been this video tag that's been circulating on YouTube in the past few weeks or so. I don't know, it's my second time trying to film this. The first time was a massive failure, but basically this tag was started by Rumor Haven, and it's made up of two parts. I'll see if I want to split my video in two or if I just lump it together. So the first tag would be the Scooby decks and the other tag would be the Big Bad decks. Basically what it comprises of is we're thinking of the main characters in Buffy and the main villains of Buffy and reimagine them in terms of tarot. What kind of decks would they be using? Why is there that their aesthetic, or why is that something that they would appreciate? And any other random thoughts as per usual. So without further ado, I'm just gonna start following the list that Rumor started, and if there's something else I need to add, I will just add it along the way. So first on the list we have Giles. For those of you who don't know Giles is the father figure in Buffy. So he's very much a British librarian with a lot of traditional knowledge, very much a hierophant if you like, a scholar, dabbles with magic, refuses anything that has to do with computers or anything technology based, appreciates a good book, knows a lot about demons and symbology and all sorts of things. So while I do agree with a few of the choices I've seen already with associating Giles with the tarot volatile, or the tarot volatile, it depends where you are. I think for him, the Hermetic Tarot would be a better choice. It's packed with symbolism. It requires a great deal of knowledge. For example, I don't use this deck for clients, but I do use it for myself, just because of that wealth, that added layer. It does borrow a lot from I don't know, everything in between, thought, marché, Rider-Waite, everything you name it, numerology, astrology. It just is just everything in this deck. So I think just because of this aspect, Giles would be enjoying it. Also, I like the black and white aspect because Giles is very much not in the gray area. If you remember the Ben thing, I'm not trying to spoil it, but for those of you who've seen the series, I feel like that's an example where Giles is perfectly suited for the Hermetic Tarot. Okay, next on the list we have Buffy, our resident Slayer, right? So she's 16, she just became the Slayer. She's imperfect. She, for the longest of time, as much as I loved the series, I couldn't, marry the idea of Buffy as a protagonist. Sorry, I'm just gonna take a sip of my tea. Why do I say that? Well, because Buffy is imperfect, and because I've been a fan of Buffy for such a long time, for me it didn't make sense for us to have an imperfect protagonist. But as I grew older and as I understood her meaning and her purpose, I think I became more accepting, and now I even like her as a character. I think I didn't like her because she wasn't perfect. As I said, she was really bad at school. Sometimes she was quite selfish and bratty and had trouble adjusting to some life changes, and sometimes she would be too authoritative. So I guess this is why. But why do I choose this deck for Buffy? Because this deck is quite modern, but at the same time blunt, strong. It has that imperfect aspect to it. I don't know, it just like feels a bit undone. Just like if you know the Buffy, the cookie dough speech in Buffy, it kind of feels like that. She's not done, so this deck is still maturing. It also has a very strong older sister feeling to it. I know in other videos I said this deck has a motherly touch to it, but now I'm kind of like diverting from that idea. So if I had a sister, an older sister specifically, I would probably use this deck to communicate with her, but I don't. So I guess Buffy being an older sister, I guess this is why I kind of envision her and this deck together. So yeah, maybe it's a bit controversial, but we'll see. Next on the list we have Xander, and to be fair, I struggled with Xander. Again, he was not one of my favorite characters as I grew up, because he was a bit clingy and needy and didn't know how to handle rejection well, and maybe I was expecting too much of his character. Sorry, I keep taking sips of my tea because my voice is kind of done with me today. So I've seen a lot of fun choices in terms of Xander decks. Very quirky, very fun, very light-hearted, if you like. I don't have any of that because clearly I just like creepy decks, apparently. But I decided on the Aquarian Tarot. And it's like, why? Because he never blends in with his friends, so it was very difficult to choose a deck for him. But at the same time, the Aquarian Tarot kind of makes sense. It's a reliable deck. It's the voice of reason for me. Sorry, I need to stretch my legs. So it's, I don't know, it's colorful to make sense of Xander's quirky fashion sense. A bit old school, a bit traditional. What else? Like, I don't know, it just feels like it fits Xander so well. Even though it's not like none of these people look like Xander, and obviously none of the fashion looks like Xander, but the colors, the vibe, the focus on the characters, I think this is why it led me to Xander. Because if you know season 7 and what happens to Xander, his character is the observant one, the silent observer. Sorry, I keep like messing with my setup. And he does have a quality that focuses on the human aspect of people rather than just like the greater good or the bigger picture. And I feel like for me, the Aquarian Tarot is the embodiment of Xander. It's reliable, it's trustworthy, it's a classic for a reason, and I just absolutely adore the Aquarian Tarot. Now, for Willow, our resident witch, so Willow starts off as the geeky sidekick of Buffy, best friend. She dresses quirky, she has like a nerdy fashion sense. I really absolutely adore her in the Sunnydale high school era because, I don't know, probably because I saw myself in her as a child. But as she grows, she finds herself, she grows into this like amazing witch with a lot of flaws that kind of makes sense given her personality. So for Willow, I could have chosen one of the, like, I have so many esoterical decks that I could have chosen for Willow, or maybe something thought-based to reflect her thirst of knowledge. But I feel like for Willow, because she has a lot of intuitive power, I think the Margaret Peterson Tarot is the best choice. This deck was for the longest of time one of my favorite decks. I just absolutely love the artwork, love the immersion of that it allows me to do. It's a very intriguing deck with a very free-flowing energy. However, you can sense the limit aspect of it, and I feel like this for Willow is the perfect choice. I don't know, let me know what you feel, like what you think of this choice. I feel like this is perfect for Willow, at least in my book. Something happened here in my box. Let me just put my deck back and move on. Okay. Next we have Cordelia. So Cordelia was in the first 2 seasons of Buffy, the love interest of Xander. She's a very wealthy, spoiled girl with an amazing fashion sense, but she grows into her character. She never shies away from telling it like it is, and sometimes people think that she's very blunt to the point of rudeness. I think she just speaks her mind, which is awesome. And I do agree that Cordelia has a certain feline quality to her. This is why I chose the Tarot of the Cat people for Cordelia. She's very much independent. She has really good boundaries in my book. She's self-reliant, she's self-sufficient, so like, what's not to like? What's not to like? And this nifty deck is very glamorous, and I know it's not quite the fashion that Cordelia follows, but at the same time it's very opulent, you know, and very rich and very bold and very in their own element, you know. So I feel like this is the perfect choice for Cordelia, because she has this exaggerated, larger than life persona, and I feel like this deck is the perfect choice for her. So that's my choice for Cordelia. Next, since we're on the partner side of things, we have Oz. Oz is Willow's boyfriend in high school. Also, Oz is a guitarist, a very sardonic character, and he's also a werewolf, which is unexpected. For him, I chose the Tarot Familiars, and you can see my box is quite tatty and damaged, but it's because I just love this deck so much. This is a pip deck. It has a few familiars, so obviously you have the wolves, the owls, the rabbits, the horses, the ravens, and cats. I don't think we have anything else. It has a very blunt tone. I love this Lover's card, and I feel like in the context of Oz, this deck makes perfect sense. Like, very to the point, very dry, funny at the same time, and also a bit cuddly, you know. Like, Oz is one of my favorite characters. When I was a kid, I used to say I wish I had a boyfriend like Oz. It is what it is. I'm too old now. But yeah, he's one of my favorite characters, and I feel like he's... Oh, why does my deck go into the box? I feel like he's one of the few characters that, despite him doing something that hurt one of my favorite characters aka Willow. I can understand why, and I can justify it because it made sense. It was the right choice to do. Whereas other characters made selfish decisions just for the sake of it. So that's odds for me. Next in line we have another of Willow's partners. After Oz left, she found herself a girlfriend, Tara, and I think Tara is one of my favorite characters ever. She's so sweet, so kind, so, I don't know, just a gentle soul, and I don't think anyone could have asked for a better partner for Willow. And I think for her, the White Sage Tarot is perfect. She's also a witch, more of a lineage witch than a self-study witch like Willow is. She becomes an amazing part of the Scoobies, helping raise Dawn and being a supportive friend for Buffy and others. She's non-judgmental, she's calm, she's peaceful, she exudes so much peace. She's one of my favorite characters, and the White Sage Tarot is one of my favorite decks. So there we go. That's my tarot association. Sadly, I don't know if I should spoil it. Sadly, she also leaves Willow, but not because she wants to, but because she's shot by one of the evil people in Buffy. So yeah, there's that. Next we have Anya, and Anya is one of Xander's girlfriends. So he first dated Cordelia and then he dated Anya. Anya is an ex-demon. She's like 1,000-year-old, and something happened to my deck, as you can see. This is Le Tarot de Marseille par Polka. And Anya has no filter. Anya has no understanding of how humans work, and therefore she's just super blunt, super honest. She asks the difficult questions. Whenever I think of death, I think of Anya's scene when she's like struggling to understand what being dead is and how it impacts the living. And I feel like that scene is so heartbreaking, but also so true. Like, if you've never been in that situation, you'll understand Anya's plea to try and understand the void that leaves behind, that stays with you when the person departs. And I feel like she's weirdly scared of bunnies, and she's weirdly focused on money, and she loves money. But I feel like this is so reductive, whereas a Marseille deck is full of knowledge, full of like, and she's also a good like demon hunter in her human days. So there's that. Yeah, I feel like for the bluntness aspect, this Marseille deck is the perfect choice for Anya. But at the end of the day, any deck, any Marseille deck is the perfect choice for Anya, because she's just quirky like that. Okay, I'm just gonna leave this because I'm just gonna damage my box even further, so I don't want to do that. Next we have Dawn. So Dawn is Buffy's sister, and you're gonna ask, oh, Buffy didn't have a sister. Yeah, she did. Tea break. Buffy's sister, she's a mystical key that came to Buffy to be protected by, she was sent there by some monks, la la la. They used Buffy's blood to create Dawn, so on and so forth. Dawn is a bratty teenager, and in time she evolves into this, I don't know, a fountain of knowledge, if you like, and she starts to become good at demon research and demon fighting, and I feel like Tarot of Magical Correspondences is the best choice for Dawn, because again, it's a very busy deck, but it has a lot of information, a lot of symbols, a lot of numerology, and what's the other one? Astrology. Sorry, but my brain just doesn't work today. That she can use to learn to help fend the evil, right? I used to have like a card that told me that my deck was special. I don't know where it is. Oh, it's here. Yeah, so I have the Tree of Life and the Certificate of Authenticity. Yeah, I don't know, like for the longest of time, Dawn wasn't my favorite character, and sorry, I don't know what I'm doing, but in the later seasons I feel like she becomes useful, and she's more on the scholar side rather than the practical side, so I feel like this deck would be a good tool for her. Next we have Angel, and Angel is Buffy's first love. Angel is not my favorite character. When I was probably 12 or 13, I used to love Angel. Now I think he's boring. I side with Spike on this. I'm sorry for everyone who likes Angel. I just can't. He's quite bland as a character, and I feel like except when he's Angelus, that's when he's fun. Other than that, he's just boring and your standard love interest, and that's about it. That's all it is to Angel for me. This is why, like, for me, he's a classic vampire. He's the classic vampire love story, right? His relationship with Buffy, and it has the usual telltale signs, but it doesn't have the edge. It doesn't have, except when he's Angelus again. He's very straightforward in his affection. The consequences of it are very clear. They gravitate towards each other because they know each other so well. So there's a lot of pattern going on there. So for me, Angel is the RWS. I chose the Centennial because of this painting. When Buffy tries to wear a dress that resembles a dress from Angel's era, but that's about it. Yeah. So this is Angel for me. Next we have the fun guy, which is not the fun guy, but the fun guy, which is Spike. So Spike is the other affectionate hero in Buffy's life. He's fun, he's wild, he's unpredictable, he's I don't know, he's just exuberant. Even though he's a vampire, so technically dead, he loves life, he loves living, he loves a good plan to destroy something, but he doesn't want to destroy the world. He said it himself, and I feel like he has more depth than other people, especially in the first two seasons. He's very observant as well, and he's not afraid to show it to you. So for me, this deck, I chose it because it's like your standard bad guy deck with skeletons and stuff. And this is exactly what Spike is. He doesn't pretend to be more. He doesn't want to be more. He just wants to kill and have fun. And that's it. And this is why this is one of my choices for Spike. Because he's like such a sucker for good old death representation in terms of skeletons and all sorts of weird Bob vibes and directness, no fluff, no... Yeah. And the other choice would be this deck, Tarot Key by Mr. Freeborg. This is, what's it called? A Kickstarter deck. Again, this is where everyone is a skeleton. as you can see. Oh, sorry. I think what happened here. Okay, this is the beginning. Sorry. So yeah, everyone's dead in this deck as well. I wouldn't have used the Somnia Tarot, even though they kind of have a similar vibe, because Somnia Tarot is a thing of nightmares, whereas this one, it's just like fun. It's a fun deck. I like to use it. I like to look at the cards. I feel like they're really well done, and I hope this deck becomes a classic because it's such a good deck. Anyway, those are my opinions on Spiky Boy. He who hangs out with the Slayer a lot. A few characters I want to touch on before I finish this video. I guess in the original Dala wasn't mentioned, and I'm kind of torn because I don't think I have a deck for her, but I have one for Drusilla. And this is the Nicoletta Ciccoli. Drusilla is Spike's girlfriend, actually. She's weird. That's all I need to say about that. Drusilla is... what did I do? She sees things. She's a quirky, insane vampire woman that talks to, I don't know, dolls and sees the moon through the roof and things like that. So she's kooky, to say the least. And I feel like this deck kind of gives me a similar vibe to her. So that's my choice for Drusilla. And the other one is Faith. So Buffy dies twice. I think I can say that. One of the times Faith is cold, and while she starts as one of the good guys, she ends up being an evil guy. So for her, I chose Deviant Moon because she kind of represents the shadow self of Buffy. And while Buffy isn't perfect, Faith is completely deviant, and she revels in like being a psychopath, which is weird choice, but whatever, I get it. So yeah, this is why I chose this deck. I don't really use this deck anymore because I've gotten bored of it, and I feel like there's a saturation in terms of the Patrick Valenza, what's it called? Appetite, but that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, I'm gonna do the big bads in the same breath, just to save some trouble and call it a day. So season 1, we have the Master. So the Master is the big bad. He's a vampire king trapped in the underground, and I think for me, the Vampire Tarot by Natalie Hertz is the best choice for this deck. I just love the artwork of Natalie Hertz. I love all her decks. I have them. They're amazing. But I feel like this deck has that classic feel to it, just like the Master is. He's generally bad. He doesn't give you like tormented bad guy. He's just bad. He's bad for the sake of it. He enjoys feeding. He enjoys sending out people to bring him humans to feed, and he's quirky and funny, but also very scary, and Mr. Fruit Punch Mouth, that's what Buffy called him. He's a scary guy, he's a scary dude, and these vampires in this deck, they are scary vampires, and I feel like there's no better choice than Natalie Hertz's Vampire Tarot for the Master. Now, season 2, that's when we get introduced to Spike and Drusilla, and for a while they are the main bad guys, right? So initially for Spike and Drusilla, I chose the Cursed Auguries. This is not a Kickstarter deck. It's a deck, sorry. And one that I use quite often. It has linen cardstock and I love it. But why I like this deck matched to Spike and Drusilla's energy, it's unapologetically violent. It's unapologetically rotten. It seems to have fun. It seems to bloom where destruction is, and this is how I feel about Spike and Drusilla. I feel like this is the perfect deck for both of them. Now, season 2 also has Angelus as the other villain. Angelus is the evil side of Angel. So while Angel is boring and tame, Angelus is a murderer. Let me have a sip of my tea. And I will be redundant here because I went with the safe option. I went with Madame Lydia. I know other people chose this deck as well. I think it's a solid angel deck. Angelus, sorry. I dislike this box with a fire passion. I feel like this deck has art. Angelus and Angel, both of them have a very fine appreciation for art and literature and history and like mythology and symbolism and knowledge. I feel like this deck has that plus the darkness, the cruelty of Angelus as well. And I feel like this fits Angelus perfectly. So yeah, that's my safe option for Angelus in season 2. Now, in season 3, we have one of the most fun and scary and creepiest villains ever. We have the mayor. So the mayor... Okay, sorry for that. Now I'm back. My battery died, obviously, because I've been talking nonsense for ages. Next, we have the villain of season 3. So we have the mayor. The mayor was a human, like roughly 100 years ago, who decided to become a demon. So therefore, he had to perform rituals and sacrifices to make sure that he fully transforms into a demon. Because he was so calculated and so intentional in his radical change, if you like, I chose, same as other people, the Zombie Tarot. This is very much a utilitarian deck for me. Sorry for that. And I don't think there's anything better to describe the mayor's capacity for long-term planning, agreeableness, I guess, because he's quite an agreeable man once before you learn what he's doing, but also he's like tendencies and like creepy factor, and I feel like this deck is the perfect embodiment for that. Now, I am in agreement with Brummer Haven and on this topic. Like, the mayor is perfect Zombie Tarot. That's his shtick. And next villain in season 4 we have Adam. Adam is part human, part demon, part robot. And again, the Zombie Tarot, even though he's not technically a zombie, but neither is the mayor, they seem like the perfect choice for someone like Adam. I don't know, it just works for me, same as it did for Rumor Haven, and I'm gonna choose the same deck for both villains, even though it seems uninspired. At the same time, I don't really have that many decks that can cover this topic, so it is what it is. Next we have season 5 Glory. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. And for Glory, I have multiple decks. Glory is a goddess. She actually is the reason why dawn exists. The monks made dawn a key to prevent Glory from finding it and open the portal between worlds so that realities don't collapse into each other. And what do you know? Glory wants a key. She wants to drain dawn of her blood and just like go home into her reality. Glory is a goddess. She's so evil and so old that she doesn't have a name, so people call her minions call her Glorificus, and in short, Glory. She's scary. She's a bit insane. It is what it is. For Glory, I have a few choices. I have the White Fly Tarot, the Orphic Tarot, and the Madame Endora Fortune card. All of these decks have like very different vibes. The White Fly Tarot is the bane of my existence. Trying to open this deck is like trying to open Pandora's box. Anyway, such a struggle. This is why I put this bow, and it's still a struggle to open it. I don't know what to do. Oh wow, this is absolutely embarrassing. I'm sorry. I'm almost there, promise. Oh wow. Can get worse than this. Yes. This is the worst box ever to exist. So I'm gonna show you a few of the cards because we have 3 decks to go through. So this is a deck based on mythology. It's an indie deck. I'm happy I got it. I hate the box. This is why I don't use it. I just like the artwork. If you have the time and energy to read through the guidebook, then definitely worth it. And that's it. Took me half an hour to get into this deck, and I'm not gonna waste another half an hour to put it back, so I'm sorry for that. Next we have the Orphic Tarot, and while I understand that this is what's it called, Greek mythology deck, I feel like it has the violence and the ruthlessness that Glory embodies, just like any other god, I guess. They're cruel, they're mean, they just want things to go their way. I will admit I never used this deck. I do have a fondness for Greek mythology. This is why I got it. I did film a walkthrough at some point. I think, if I remember, I'm gonna leave the link to the video somewhere. If not, take my word for it. Yeah, it's a really nice and well-made deck. It has a bit of shine and gilding to it, but yeah, I never use it. This was a Kickstarter deck. Getting into these boxes, it's a nightmare. Okay, so next we have the Madame Endora's cards, and I feel like this is because Glory is an old school god and she controls the fates, so the key again. This is why I kind of associate this deck with Glory. Next we have, this was season 5, and season 6 we have initially we have the trio. So these are 3 geeks that decide to like make Buffy's time on this planet worse. Unfortunately, I don't have this kind of energy in my deck collection. But I'm going to focus on the second villain, Big Bad, which is Dark Willow. And this is actually Willow. And she turns dark when the trio kills Tara. And for Willow, I decided to go with the Tarot Key by Mr. Freeborg again, because she's very, very ruthless. She just goes for the kill, and I feel like this deck has her power in a way. And again, for Willow, I have another choice that I think works perfect for her. That is the Illuminated Earth Oracle. I will be honest, Willow, as a bad guy, she's scary, she wants to end the world. Basically, that's what she's trying to do. She feels the pain of people very deeply. She's very much connected to the earth. This is why I feel like the Illuminated Earth Oracle is the perfect choice for Willow. And it's a busy, magical energy in this deck, and I feel like she embodies it perfectly. That's my opinion, anyway. My voice is... yeah, I don't think I can last much longer filming this video, so I'm just gonna wrap it up in a few minutes. So season 7, we have Caleb as one of the evil guys, but again, I don't have an energy that's so violent and so despicable. And the big bad of the season is the first. The first is in the first evil. So the first evil is primordial, obviously, but it's non-corporeal, so it doesn't have any butt to kick, so to say. So because of that, I decided to go with the puzzle deck, which is a Kickstarter deck, 6 of Wands. Well, yeah. Because the first, whenever you see the first, it's basically a vision of someone who has passed, and there's a lot of like skeletons, but also alchemical symbols and astrology and stuff going on in these cards. And I feel like this deck has the darkness necessary to talk through the first, or to the first, or whatever you want to say. And yeah, this is my final choice in terms of decks. Now, I know this video was all over the place. I wish I could film more. It just I don't really have the time between doing readings for my clients and real life stuff. That's kind of impossible. But I did have fun to thinking of these two tags and finding the decks that, in my opinion, match the energy of the characters. Filming it was not so fun because this is my second try, so fingers crossed this time the video works. That's all I have to say. I would love to hear it from you if you have different opinions, if you have these decks, if you what do you think of them, what do you think of my choices, what would you choose instead if you don't agree with me, which is probably a certainty at this point. Yeah, anything you want to tell me about my choices or your choices, I would love to create the dialogue necessary for that. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy. If you have any questions or ideas, please message me or leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, whatever works for you. I'm not pressuring you into that. And I do hope to see you in another video. Bye!